right now. So now we've told, since I was talking about streaming services supporting a lot more queer content, let's get into this story about GLAAD board members, Frankie Grande and Peppermint, who basically wrote an open letter that they would like to see more LGBTQ plus representation in the world of reality TV. And now here's the thing. I was shocked when I saw this because I was like, I didn't even know that that was a gig that Peppermint and Frankie was holding down. So they basically said that while we've made impressive strides in LGBTQ plus visibility over the decades, the fact remains that for far too long now, reality shows too often include just one LGBTQ storyline or depend on a single LGBTQ cast member to represent an entire community of individuals and experiences. This is what Grande, Ariana's half brother, and Trader Star and Entertainment Tainer Peppermint, said in an open letter signed by the host of other reality TV stars. They cite popular unscripted shows like Survivor, Big Brother, The Voice, American Idol, The Challenge, and Amazing Race are being held back by minimal LGBTQ plus representation, saying this kind of story is stale, archaic, and does not truly reflect the vibrant and diverse queer community that exists in our country and LGBTQ communities around the world. The duo added in a letter also signed by GLAAD president Sarah Kate Ellis. All I decided, did we hear stories about Sarah taking kickbacks? I've been hearing that story allegedly. Now they said GLAAD, the media watchdog group that tracks a number of LGBTQ regular and recurring characters on primetime TV, has long argued that more queer storylines on the small screen boost acceptance and safety, saying that's the theme reflected in the open letter. Representation matters because it has the power to change hearts and minds. When viewers see LGBTQ people living authentically, forming relationships, facing challenges, and celebrating victories, it breaks down stereotypes and dispels ignorance, hate, misinformation, and harm. Now, the open letter was also co-signed by reality stars like Nicole Byer, Michelle Buteau, Paulie Calafiore, who was actually bisexual and is dating and he was on The Challenge, but he was on Big Brother along with his brother, but he also was dating Cara Maria from The Challenge. Now, Alan Cumming also signed it, Monet Exchange, Raquel Shrevemont, Elliot Cooper, Sandra Diaz, Nicole Franzel, Alana Glazer, Taylor Hale, Bob the Drag Queen, Brittany Haynes, Derek Levasseur, Jazz Jennings, Margaret Josephs, Amrit Kapai, Megan King, T.S. Madison, Meredith Marks, Greg Mathis Jr., who we know was the homosexual son of Greg Mathis, Elliot Page, Phaedra Parks, Xavier Pranthur, Queen Priyanka, Rachel Riley, Michaela J. Rodriguez, Christian Siriano, Bronwyn Spinner, Chriselle Staus, Zeke Thomas, Andy Vanacore, Sheree Whitfield, and Peter Weber. So I do agree with them on this whole article because I've been saying for the longest in regards of shows like Big Brother and especially The Challenge. And remember American Idol back in the day, they was forcing their stars to stay in the closet. And we've heard people talk about it, from Clay Aiken to Adam Lambert to David Archuleta. Like they've mentioned over the years of how they had to play this fine line. They couldn't truly be their authentic selves. But you have to realize in the world of reality TV, people relate and resonate with those characters more than they do with scripted television. And I've always been saying for the longest that we are not a monolith. Network TV, as well as any other place, needs to show a full plethora of queer characters. We are not a monolith. And just like how Frankie even said, he was like, they had him represent every aspect of the LGB and the T, instead of having a diverse cast of people. I would even look at The Challenge sometimes and I'm like, okay, so where's the gay representation? The only time I would see the gays on there is if they had Derek and Ryan. They were the only two. And they will always play them up like, yeah, let's go after the gays because they're not physically able. So, but the thing was, they always had the girls that were protecting them and they had them on their side. So that way the girls would basically keep the guys around while the gay guys wasn't stepping up. The only ones that I would see that was stepping up was Derek. Derek was the one that was really going in and stepping his pussy up in regards to the challenge, having to prove himself because this ongoing stereotype. This is why I've always said I had an idea of why can't we have a challenge type show with a little Big Brother thrown in, but it's just LGBT people. It's like a summer camp for the every aspect of the community. We see a whole show. I'm hosting it. I'll be the TJ Lavin. And then we have the queer people all coming up in there and they do the physical challenge. There are gay people that are athletes. We've seen it many times where they in any kind of sport, be it rugby, football, the international version of football, and then we have American football, or you have baseball players, and they all come out once they're done with their career. So we're not, like I said, we're not a monolith. We ain't all running around here being like those Tamar Braxton idea of homosexuals. Some of us are actually, there are some gays that are straight presenting, that aren't into the stereotypes that the industry likes to put forth, so makes it easy for you to know who a gay person is, or what you think a lesbian is, or a bisexual, or a transsexual, or an intersex, or whatever other part of our acronyms that we have. People are not a monolith, and seeing those different people represented in reality TV, that shows these kids out of here who are struggling with their sexuality and trying to figure out what their identity is, that I can relate to these people. So where is the diversity? It was just like I was watching Nene Leakes, because she has a new talk show out, and she was interviewing Carlos King. I ain't watched the other one where she had that big bad bitch Michelle A.T. Elliott up on there. I don't like her ugly ass. But she sat up there and she had an interview with Carlos King, and she asked Carlos King, I think it was one of his last questions, she asked him, why are all these gay shows getting canceled? And he was like, I think there's a time and a place for it. But now when you're looking into a place, streaming services is the way to go. We have streaming services like a Deku, like a Out TV, that are devoting a lot of time and a lot of energy to a lot of our type of programming. We just need to have, unfortunately, we have to go into these niche markets. It would be great if MTV will back up the Brinks truck and really support a lot of these shows. But I feel like streaming services, especially like when it comes to YouTube, it allows people to find the audience, um, and let that audience grow, instead of being like, you have 3 months to try to build your fan base and your audience, otherwise we're canceling your show. And going on a Netflix, going on these other places where they just dump shows on there with little to no promotion, that doesn't help a lot of these shows out there. So this is where we are with this. I do have the long letter. I would like to read it, but Chad will be here all day. So if y'all want to actually read the article, y'all can go over to my website, chrisavalon.com, and you can read the full open letter, where they're basically saying that the reality check on reality TV representation, their full open letter. It is definitely insightful. It is definitely a must read. And I hope that we get some stuff done, especially with Frankie Grande, who, has a lot of, wherewithal within the reality TV world. People like him. He's a great personality. He's funny. I told you I met him a couple of times. I met him at the circus when I worked at the Big Apple Circus. I remember one time he was at AMC when I was there. He had popped up with a couple of his friends. And then most recently I saw him at Drag the Musical. So it just feels like me and Frank Grande just always popping up in the same places. And then you got Peppermint out here saying the stuff that she said, because she has a wherewithal. And this is where my bitch was too. Because remember, she was the only queer drag queen representation, well, trans woman also, but she was the only representation on the Traders. And I'm sitting there like, why is there only one of them? But then you got like 5 damn housewives on here. Or you got 4 Big Brother contestants, but you got one person from Drag Race. They did the same thing again this year with Bob the Drag Queen. So hopefully we see a change. When y'all bring up the next season of the Traders, we have way more representation within our community. When you go on shows like Big Brother and all these other plays, The Amazing Race, we get more representation than just the damn one. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in them good old comments down below.